Well, it's back to the same frustrations of last year here, and unfortunately, with two more top sides to face today, I'm not sure that's going to be changing anytime soon. We've only averaged a point a game in the last 3 months. Can we do anything about it? Well, let's go and find out. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 62 of this FM23 story, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. We are back today with Ipswich Town. We've got two big games against promotion contenders. Second place Forest at home, fourth place Burnley away, followed by the chaos of the festive fixture list. The problem at the moment though, we are in 10th place, we're doing alright, we're on the coattails of the playoffs. But if you take out the fact that we won our first 4 games, it is now 16 points from 16 matches. That ain't getting us anywhere good fast. So if you're looking forward to seeing if we can find some form, then please do put a thumbs up on it. Again, we've had lots of problems with little injuries, dips in form, and all those things that just frustrate you in one of those years. And at the moment, I'm not confident we're going to go and progress this year with Ipswich. So I'm looking at mid-table again. I'm looking at trying to improve on last year's position. And whilst we haven't been winning matches as regularly, that is a fair assessment. We are still playing quite entertaining football, perhaps bar the last 2 games. Because if you go back to November and that sort of period, the goals are flying in at both ends. We're still struggling with set pieces. We're still struggling with consistency. But we are doing our best. And at the moment, we're competing, which is all I can ask for. So you were with me for Leeds and West Brom. 2 defeats against sides in a similar position to the 2 we're about to face now. We backed it up with a 1-1 draw at home to Luton, a late goal conceded after Ewan Simpson's opener, a 3-2 defeat at Middlesbrough. We let in a winner in the 92nd minute. It was George Hurst who had scored a brace in that one. A 3-1 win at home to Coventry, not really affected by the late red card. Hurst, Simpson and Sykes got a goal each, but to be fair, we let in another one from a corner. I've done so many extra sessions on it, it's been boring, just continuously adding them in. It's not having that effect yet. I'm trying to play around with it, but I'm almost getting to the stage now where I'm doing the thing I always warn against, which is over-tinkering. So I'm going to try my best to leave it alone for a while and work on the training ground. In terms of the next game, we lost at Sheffield United, 3-0 down at half-time, game over. George Hurst and Ferdinand did give us a lifeline, but it wasn't enough. A 0-0 draw against QPR, they were in the relegation zone at the time, we didn't look like scoring. A 1-1 draw at home to high-flying Peterborough. We worked for 79 minutes in a game we utterly dominated. We finally got the goal from the spot, then we conceded straight after. Sums up our season perfectly. A 1-0 defeat at home to Bristol City, another goal in the last 25 minutes. And that was before the last game at Cardiff, a big 1-0 win in a game that ironically we got battered in. So the games that we've played worse in we've generally won or drawn, and the games we've played better in we've normally lost. It's a hilarious coincidence. Despite all of that, I think George Hurst is still the top scorer in the championship. He is. He's got 15 goals and he's only played 18 or 19. 19 starts, 15 goals. It's a very good effort from the centre forward. But if we go and get into our first game against Forest, things are looking pretty average for us. I'm hoping we can find some form. I'm hoping we can find some results. But again, we've been playing twice a week. We're up against a side with a far bigger budget. And I'm a little bit concerned about who's going to make this one. Every game near enough this year as well, and it does deserve a mention. We've been asked by our assistant to go more cautious, and I know that you guys criticised me for it last year, but against these top sides, we keep letting in goals. So I might just try it today while sticking with our game plan. There's no harm in trying the way we're playing at the minute, but let's get through the team selection. Who's fit, who's not? Luke Wolfenden is struggling. We've already got Edmondson out at centre-half, although he is back today. So let's go and tinker with this line-up a bit. We'll be back in a minute to run through it. Well, here we go then. And thankfully, we've got a week off after this game, so we can just get our first team out and try and get them through it. Bit of a problem at centre-half. I mentioned about the injuries we've had, and although we haven't got any at the minute, both Kent and Hume are in their first game back and are only able to do 45 minutes. As a result of that, I'm having to play Edmondson, who prefers to play on the left but is right-footed, alongside left-footed Clinton Mola, who is more a holding mid than a centre-half. We've got loads of players wanting to leave with unhappiness as we've gone out the cups, as we've not had as many games, we've not been able to keep them all happy. And going forward, there's fatigue, there's a lack of consistency. It's just not quite happening at the minute. And Howard scored that hat-trick on the opening day, not scored a goal since for this club. It really is a concern how some people have just been on and off like a switch. Ewan Simpson's not played well for a while. George Hurst has been scoring goals, but the creative spark behind it has disappeared. And I don't know if that's teams adapting to how we play. I don't know if that's us maybe dropping off the boil. I don't know if that's having lots of injuries at different times. But when we've not been able to put our first 11 out, we really have struggled. And that's despite the fact we mentioned that game against Hull on the opening day. They're only 4 points behind us. They're in that mid-table mix. They're not as bad as people thought. So I don't really know what's holding us back here. It just seems to be inconsistency and a very weak mentality when it comes to conceding goals. But today, we're as close to our first 11 as we have been for a long time. It's only the centre-half Wolfenden missing out. As a result, it's Grimshaw in goal, Swanson and Davis the fullbacks with Mola and Edmondson as centre-half, Harper and Adeniran the midfield two, Ferdinand and Howard the wingers, and then Simpson behind Hurst up front. We're going to try and play on the counter a little bit more today. I don't know whether it's going to work, but our home form has been awful. Our form against the top sides have been awful. And I feel like without hampering the style of football we're playing, I do need to do something to address the balance, particularly given the issues in defence. Let's go and see if it works. And here we go, just a couple of changes for Brighton. Familiar names going out, but Connor Roberts coming in. Lucas Torreira's in that midfield, as is Andrew Moran, who we had in a Brighton save in FM22. They've got the former Derby youngster on the right wing. They've got an original up front and Gelhardt on the bench. It is a very good side. So let's get through the dressing room. Let's show how good we are. We're going to go cautious while keeping the same game plan. Now let's go and see if it works. And if finally we can get a result against one of these top boys. I'm not holding up much hope. We're nearly 20 on the clock. It's been a boring game so far, but it's a corner kick. And we know how bad we are from them, as Moran gets it right to Torreira. The first one's gone, but the danger isn't clear. Torreira back into the box again. No. Back to Beardsmore, who goes back to halfway, and Forest will start again. Comfortable in possession. Big switch to Connor Roberts over on the left. Brings it forward. Defenders standing like statues. Awani's in. He must have been offside. The flag does go up. It's disallowed. He's not far behind Hurst in the top scorer ranks, so we'll be trying to keep him quiet for this one. Not the best start, but again, danger from set pieces. We look all over the place, and although we've not threatened their goal yet, we do look a little more defensively solid, which I guess is something against the big boys. Maybe that's the way we've got to approach this season. Go big against the sides in the bottom half, but show a bit of last season's resilience against the bottom teams. As Davis picks it up on the left, we're still learning here. Brings the ball forward, big over the top to Hurst. That's not the ball for a target man to chase. Kimona gets it at right back to Torreira. What on earth is he doing mid-table in the Championship? Although, Forest, to be fair, will probably go up this year as it's long again. Edmondson heads away to Simpson. Flying challenge from Moran, gets away with it. Definitely lunged in there. It's through. Malcolm's in and puts it just wide. That's a frustrating one because he went in two-footed. He seems to have got away with it. Half-time, 0-0 is the scoreline. This has happened an awful lot in recent games. We've been 0-0 at half-time and then it's finished 2-1, 3-2. We want to try and keep it tight at the start of this half as well. And in the last half an hour, we can maybe come out and play a bit. But again, Howard, Simpson, Ferdinand, Hurst, none of them showing that form regularly. We've got a lot of poor performers on the pitch at the minute. As Sinisalo takes the goal kick for Forest, again looking to go forward. Big ball towards Edmondson, who brings it down. Oh, dallying in possession again. What the hell are you doing back there? Just pass the ball. It's not a hard thing to do. Sunday League players would get rid of that in time. Geez, there are some things, and we look promising at times, but there are some things that just infuriate me with this team. Let's go and make a few changes because there's tyre legs out there, and they're bad enough at the minute when they're fully fit. So Leif Davis is going to come off for Kent. I'm going to move Mola over to left back. Swanson will switch with Hume, both of them coming back to fitness. Harper off in the central midfield playmaker role for Dougie Miller. In attacking mid is Ewan Simpson. Could have been him as well, actually. So Johnston will come on. We'll put Miller a bit further forward. And then the last sub will save. Or do we take off Howard? No. We've got a terrible injury record this year. So let's be patient. One sub remaining. We'll wait and see who it is. Well, 15 minutes to go. None of the players have improved. So we're just going to take off Howard, who's nervous. Campbell will come on. Inverted winger for him. I'm going to encourage the lads because we're still in the game. You look at the morale, it's all over the place. They're not reacting. It's another free header from a corner. I think I did 7 extra sessions during November on corner defending. 3 or 4 so far in December. I've made it as resolute as possible and not really had a response. I don't know about you, the only save I've really had good success with set pieces defensively is the Distillery one. And there I just abandoned zonal and went completely man for man. So maybe with a big team that's largely over 6 foot is something I could do here. But overall, it's another draw. It's a decent result. But again, we're not going anywhere fast. The next one, we've got to try and get a result. Well, we're back to face Burnley and we've talked about a season of frustration. Little silly injuries that have just cost us momentum, and it's the same again this week. However, this time it might be a little more problematic because we are missing our top goal scorer who's pulled his hamstring. George Hurst is out, but let's just go and pick the lineup and see. Scott Twine still going for them, Reece Nelson in the Championship as well. We're talking high quality players here. 10 changes is never a good suggestion. They're all fit, but it's a heavy match load. So we'll pick a new striker and hopefully we can bring Wolfenden back in as well. Well, here we go. There's not a great deal worth changing here. Of course, Johnston comes in up front, not so much of a natural target man and in the middle of a very long goal drought. We've also got Wolfenden back in defence. Best on paper, has had a good season actually. But the big problem is that we're just not consistent. All of those 5 midfielders having a good season overall, but if you look at the last 5 games, a long way from their very best. And without the first choice striker, without the goals in the team from the last 2 months, I'm not sure we get a result in this one. Let's go and get through to it. It will probably be a similar setup. We're playing one of the best teams in the division again. And yet again, I've not quite got my first 11 out. There's always 1 or 2 missing. Well, all of the stuff in the pre-match build-up there was players positive about our shape, about our tactical setup, about the style of play. So hopefully we're going to deliver the goods tonight because everyone's relaxed, the pressure is off, and we are the underdogs for this one. So go and show how good you are. Please put on a display. Into the first half. We've got to try at Burnley, but I'm not sure this is going to be an easy night's work. Well, 5 minutes in, it's not a packed out Turf Moor, I've got to give them that. As Swansea throws in, Swanson to Ferdinand, delivers it again to Howard, at the back post hits the woodwork. Did Woodman get something on it? It's a great save if he did. But either way, we miss a chance. He's still not scored since that opening day hat-trick. And talk about someone who flatters to deceive since. We're dominating the match early on, the stats are well in our advantage. But it's 0-0, and again, wasted chances in these games we dominate. It's happened so often in recent weeks, and it's just becoming a bit of a frustration because we're playing a lot better than last year. We're just not taking the opportunities. Now Burnley have got on top, and they've got a set piece. I think we all know the outcome. If this goes in, I'm going full man for man next time out. It's just over the bar, but it's another free header. It's infuriating to watch. Go man for man marking. You cannot go wrong. Half time is 0-0. We're not seeing many goals here, but unfortunately for you guys, this is the pain of showing the top sides. I can either show you the games against the bottom teams where we are generally winning and by a goal or 2, or I can show you the challenges against the best teams in the league. And a bit like the other save at the minute, they're the more interesting games, but it does lead to normally the lower scoring ones and the ones where we have to be a bit more cautious, although Wolfenden has just made a shocking error there. Gives it away on the edge of his own box. Dallying in possession again, but it's a great save from Grimshaw as Nelson will take the corner. Outswinging delivery from the right to the back post, well dealt with by Harper. At last we win a header from a corner, but they are very much on top now. Scott Twine, the danger man, we've got to watch out for him. With an hour on the clock, we've got a throw. We're attacking at last. Let's zoom in on it and actually watch it. Harper delivers to Howard, heads over the bar. I wouldn't say that was more than a half chance. You can see up front that Johnston struggling. We've only got Ben Woodburn on the bench, and I can't even remember the last time he played. Maybe we could put Ewan Simpson up there. He can play a little bit further forward. Howard is okay up front as well. He has got an actual striking ability but can't finish. So what do? I think we have to stick with him. We've got to try and get him out of this goal drought. The rest of the changes, though, we can start to make. It's the best 2 players that are tired, though. That's the problem here. Leif Davis will come off for Mola. And I'm going to leave it at 1 for now. We'll try and make them slowly because we're playing all right. But we look like we're going to concede another late goal. And that, again, has been the story of the season. So with 10 minutes left, let's just freshen it up a bit. Adeniran in centre midfield will be replaced by Sykes. We're also going to go for Ferdinand off for Hitchin. Miller on for Simpson. Howard off for Campbell. Full rotation up there. Winger on attack for Hitchin. Inverted winger on support for Campbell. They're better that way round. Sykes in a deep line playmaker role. 10 minutes to try and hold on. 2 points from this episode isn't bad, because against the top 4 teams in the league, we wouldn't expect to win. The problem I have is that we're back to 0-0 again. We're not showing the ambition. That football that we've set up to play, yes, we're keeping the ball a bit more. We're not really going anywhere, are we? And no matter whether we play positive, balanced or cautious, all of which we've done in the last couple of months, we cannot find that form from the start of the season. And without Hurst up front, we had no goal threat at all. We're a one-man scoring team. Ferdinand's dropping off again, never really come back from that injury. But it was this time last year he struggled for form as well. Simpson and Howard look a shadow of their former selves. I'm not sure what the solution is here. Maybe it's another season where we accept mediocrity. And maybe, as a couple of you have suggested, I need a move to go to the next level. We're touting it. We've got to get this club safe first. So let's continue. Let's have a look at the schedule and see when we are going to be back. So just to put into perspective what it's like where George Hurst doesn't play, Johnston is now 18 matches without a goal. I'm really ruining the fact we didn't get that Pereira in the summer. Imagine the difference he would have made to this side. If we go and have a look at the table, we are continuing our run of a point a game since the first 4 that we won. 18 points in 18 matches, but what have we got now? Not conceded or scored more than 1 in the last 6 matches. So we've solved the problems from the start of November, but caused a few others. And now it's going to be a really tough January because we've got a disappointing tie in the cup. Leeds away, a top championship side, we're probably going to get beaten. We also face them at the end of January before Luton at the start of Feb. And we will be back for whichever one of those is last before transfer deadline day. We've got 3 or 4 players who want to move on, who want to get a new club. I think Samuels wants to go on loan, Akinola and Mowat permanently. Sykes wants to leave too, Woodburn on loan. So it does mean I think a few will go out in the next window. And that means the director of football will surely need to get replacements. So I'm expecting a much busier deadline day than we've had this time. If you're looking forward to finding out if we get it and whether we can start scoring some goals again, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know in the comments what you think of our really erratic form this season, because it's not just the results that are erratic, it's the fact that the first month we were goals galore, the second month we were letting in a few, it was a little bit topsy-turvy and we struggled for confidence without Ferdinand and after the cup game. Then our next 6 games were basically goals galore at both ends, and now it's 6 games where it's been next to nothing in it. Maybe that's a good thing because we've played 3 or 4 of the top sides in a division, but we've then got to take advantage in these next 4 or 5 where we're largely playing teams in the bottom half. Hopefully we can do it, and if you want to find out, subscribe and turn that notification bell on. We'll be back with our Build a Nation tomorrow. It is a huge episode there, and it was a huge one yesterday. The new season is up in the eye above. There's also links up there to the Twitch channel and the football podcast too. But above my head now is yesterday's Build a Nation episode, a huge start to the season in that series. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you back here in a couple of days' time.